This is NDTV, and you're watching NDTV Profit in association with NSC.
NBCC stock and see what's happening. Well, it was known that it's going to be sold. Part of that stake is going to be sold. In the last 3 trading sessions, NBCC went up by almost 37%. Today, it has corrected, sold off. Himanshu is with us on the phone line right now. Himanshu, I understand that these are early days and we don't have much details, but could you tell us what you've heard?
Yeah, a senior official has told us that in the Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs meeting chaired by the Prime Minister, a detailed discussion was held on the proposal to divest government stake in NBCC, and after a detailed discussion, in principle approval has been given to the proposal to disinvest government equity in NBCC, though the exact quantum of divestment has not yet been told to us. What we have been told is that after the Cabinet meeting, officials will have a separate meeting with Cabinet Secretary, and then formally we will be informed about the final decision. What we have also been told is that Law Minister will be doing a detailed Cabinet briefing at 3 p.m. and the broad details of what has been approved in the Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs with regard to NBCC will be made public at 3 p.m.
3 p.m. All right. In about 2 hours, we'll get more details on this. Thank you so much, Himanshu. We'll be waiting for those details. But the market grapevine is, of course, that 15% divestment of NBCC. But let's just take a closer look at that, what was expected, what the buzz was. And Pankaj Poddar is with me right now. And before that, let me just tell you that NBCC has been going up for the last 3 days, and there had been this buzz of a stake sale. And buzz also driven by the fact that NBCC's got these big orders. It's got orders to redevelop 7 colonies in New Delhi, residential areas in New Delhi, most of them in the South Delhi area, which are government colonies. And the NBCC's share of that redevelopment is about 15,000 crores in terms of top line. And NBCC has been continuously guiding, and this has been a high-performing stock. It has been guiding consistent growth, top line growth of about 25% and a PAT growth as well, which it has been guiding for some time. And with these awards, the markets have actually looked at it and thought that this is going to be good. But the big question, Pankaj, is this 15% stake sale, how is it going to be used, right?
So, Anand, they have 90% stake, and as per the regulation, any promoter, it's a government-owned company, government has 90% stake, and as any promoter should go ahead and reduce their holding to 75%, and that's why that buzz came in of about 15-odd%.
And this includes PSUs, Pankaj? Do PSUs also have to follow that?
Yeah, there is a timeline which is given, which is quite a big timeline, but eventually they would have to do it.
All right. Now the point is, generally what we hear, what happens is that when you come into the market or go in for an FPO, the money is not taken out of the company, right? That money, the only reason I would be be sitting here and allowing you to have an FPO if I were an investor is if that money is brought back into the company. But in this case, is that happening? Is that going to happen? Is that what the buzz is? Or is it going to be taken out by the government to essentially use it as a capital source to fund the fiscal deficit?
It's absolutely going to not come into the company. If it happens, it will be a divestment by the government, where government will be selling stakes, so equity would not expand, and probably the free float would increase. That would make trading much better into this counter. But it's only going to be taken by the government to go ahead and meet their divestment targets. Apart from that, once we look at such sort of offering coming in, especially from the government, 15%, it may just be about 2,200 crores, but it's 15% stake. So to attract investors, there would be a big discount also that may come in. It may be 5 rupees, it may be 10 rupees, it may be slightly higher than that. So we'll have to wait and watch as to what's the sort of discount that they would be giving in. But that's why probably that 5% reaction, that there could be a huge discount and a huge equity offering which is coming in NBCC.
Generally what happens, Pankaj, when this kind of liquidity increases, because obviously the float increases dramatically, is NBCC currently in any of the indices?
NBCC would be in the mid-cap and the small-cap 500, okay. But it just increases over a period of time. I mean, there is an announcement which is made once it's done, and then the weightage starts to get calculated on the basis
I'm
of
assuming with higher free float, its weightage would increase in several of the indices where it is present, right?
Right. It will increase. It will increase. Yeah.
And what is the impact? One would assume that it would then become a much more highly traded, more liquid stock. You would see some sort of improvement in terms of the price, because that's what happens when bonus shares are issued.
So, firstly, right now it's just 10%.
Yeah.
So then it becomes 25%. That's a substantial chunk. So if anybody wants to own 5-6% stake, he or she can go in the market and try and, look to buy such big amounts. So such sort of investors tend to look at this company. So that will be one attraction that you would get, because 25% is coming in. Second point is what you said, when bonus happens or when the equity suddenly increases in the market, you tend to see better volumes, you tend to see better pricing. So overall, the trading interest in the market tends to increase. For something like Britannia, which we had seen earlier when they had done a stock split, we had seen a lot of changes as far as volumes is concerned. NBCC is a market favorite. We've already seen the volumes increase because of a stock split which has happened, and now once the free float increase, again you can expect volumes to increase going ahead. It will be a much better traded counter. Say if the pricing is slightly lower than what should be expected, then you could get a rally. If the pricing is higher, then probably you could get that price discovery coming in properly.
Right. Let's try and pull up ITI, because there's buzz there as well, and see what is happening in case ITI has gone up as well. Let's pull up ITI Limited, because all right, ITI is 15% up, and you can see that spike, this massive spike which has come in on ITI, because the buzz is that ITI, which is also a PSU, that the government is going to sell some of its assets. And as you can see, that spike has come straight from their 960 crore company. And let me tell you, before the 16% jump, it was obviously somewhere around 860 crores, Pankaj. And that huge jump right now has come backed on the asset sale point that has come in. But again, I don't understand. Why would people reward the company when its assets are being stripped for the government to sell and finance its debt?
It's absolutely market sentiment. For a company like NBCC, it will have an impact, because it's a sort of well-traded company. It's a well-liked counter by the market. A lot of people own it. But for ITI, institutional holding is very low. You just see such movements coming in because the free float is on the lower side, and maybe there are no institutions which just come out and sell if the pricing goes higher for any higher or lower for any particular reason why it should not happen.
Right, but there's a heavyweight.
This is NDTV, and you're watching NDTV Profit in association with NSC.